Hello, my name is Jamie Pauls. The following presentation covers the topic of using the Victor Reader Stream from HumanWare as a tool to facilitate healthy aging in older adults with vision impairment. By way of introduction, let me tell you a bit about myself. I am 57 years old, and I am someone who uses a lot of technology. I'm comfortable with technology. I've been using it for several years, but I recognize that some of the specialized technology I use as a blind person is perhaps a bit more difficult to operate than other equipment might be. So I would like to visit with you for a bit about some technology that will allow a blind person to access books, magazines, podcasts, internet radio stations, other music, all with the blind person in mind. So this is not a piece of mainstream technology. In other words, tech that is developed for sighted people, but blind people can use it. This is specialized equipment. I'm speaking about the Victor Reader Stream. Specifically, I'm talking about the new generation Victor Reader Stream from HumanWare. HumanWare is a company out of Canada, but they have dealers, distributors all over the world. These tools can help vision-impaired older adults stay aware of current news events, read books for learning and pleasure, and easily access music and podcasts using a device especially designed for the blind. It is hoped that professionals working with clients who have some degree of vision impairment will consider the Victor Reader Stream when looking at easy-to-use technology that will enrich the lives of those they serve. The Stream is basically an audio and book player. That's what it is. Both using synthesized speech, we'll discuss that in a bit, as well as pre-recorded speech, such as any audiobook that you would get from your local library. You can listen to music that you place on the device, or you can listen to internet radio. Podcasts also are easily accessible. Finally, you can listen to magazines, read magazines such as Access World and many mainstream publications like the Wall Street Journal. The device has no visual display to speak of. There are some lights on the unit, but nothing that you would need to be able to look at to see a menu or anything like that. The Stream uses an SD card, so it's very simple to move content from the card to the computer or back again. You can plug the Stream in and transfer content directly to the card from a computer if you desire to do that. The way that you add content to the unit is very simple. There's a very organized folder structure. We won't really dig deep into that in this presentation, but it is easy to know where to place certain content so that the Stream can recognize it. So there's always a place that audiobooks, for example, is going to go. There is always a place where your music lives on the SD card that you have in your Stream. And you can use multiple cards. So you could have a card specifically for books. You could have a card specifically for music. Also, there is some content that you can actually transfer directly to the unit. So you bypass the card and it just lives in internal memory. You can do this directly from the internet. So you can actually download magazines. I have a Victor Stream and I currently have it set up to automatically download the latest 2 issues of several magazines that I like to read. And then those issues go away after a point, so that even if I don't read them, I'm not taking up an unnecessary amount of space on my device. If a blind person is not totally comfortable transferring content to the Stream, a sighted person can certainly use a computer and even use some specialized software developed by HumanWare. Blind people can certainly use this software as well. But I'm thinking about someone who maybe is just getting started with technology. Perhaps as an older adult, you've lost a lot of your vision and you're not real familiar with technology. So you might actually have someone assist you, at least initially, in getting things up and running. And that is very possible from the standpoint of the sighted user as well. The problem that often happens with hardware is that the device may have buttons on it, but sometimes the buttons are very close together and difficult to feel, especially for anyone who is beginning to lose some sensation in their fingers. And so perhaps it's not as easy for them to detect where one button starts, another one stops. The Victor Reader Stream has very easily detectable tactile buttons. And also, these buttons, in many cases, are in different shapes. They have very distinct shapes. So it's easy to not only feel one button from another, but also to determine what a button does depending on the shape. A good example of that is moving forward and backward through content using left and right arrows. And the buttons are very definitely arrow shaped, and you can tell which one obviously is going to go left or backward, which one of them is going to go right or forward. As a blind person who has been totally blind all my life, I am very comfortable using synthesized speech, and I can speed it up to a fairly high rate. That is something I have become comfortable with over many years. But a lot of times someone who begins to lose their vision later in life may not have had any reason to be familiar with electronic synthesized speech that would perhaps read a text, a book, a magazine, that sort of thing. The stream uses both human and synthesized voices. All of the prompts that the stream gives you, letting you know that it's on, letting you know the battery level, that sort of thing, are given in human speech. Content such as a magazine, the titles of books, in many cases, music tracks, would be delivered in synthesized speech, because obviously there's no way that HumanWare could record human prompts for everything that the device is going to encounter. So when the human prompts are not available, the device switches to synthesized speech, and it uses, by default, two different voices that you can choose from, either a female or a male voice. You can adjust many characteristics of that voice, including, and probably most importantly, the rate of speed at which the voice speaks. So if you need slower speech, you can definitely do that. Or if you need faster speech, you can do that as well. And you can make these adjustments on the fly. So when you get comfortable using the unit, at any point you can speed up or slow down the speech to suit your needs. I won't mention all of the different types of content that the stream can access or make use of. I will highlight some significant content that many of you may be familiar with. One is the Braille audio and reading download service from the National Library Service for the Blind. So BARD, as it is called, books. Also called talking books. For many years, that was the term that was very familiar. As a blind person, I used to get books on vinyl. I actually got records in the mail and then cassette tapes. So this content's been around for a long time, but it has certainly developed and evolved as the technology has. So now it's possible to have human narrated books available easily. Also, books from audible.com, which is a mainstream service, a service that sighted people use as well as blind people. Another service is Bookshare, which is a service that originally involved pretty much exclusively books that one blind person would scan and upload, another blind person would proofread, and then once that process was completed, the book would be available on the site to other blind people. Now, publishers are making content available to Bookshare. So volunteers are still needed and are still important, but now a lot of electronic books come directly from the publisher. Also, NFB Newsline, National Federation of the Blind, provides a lot of content, a lot of newspapers, local newspapers, magazines of many different types, including, as I mentioned, Access World. The stream is 4.5 inches long, 2.4 inches wide, and 0.7 inches high, and it weighs 3.9 ounces with the battery included, and the battery is rechargeable. You get about 15 hours of battery life, more or less. There are things that will vary that, how loud you listen to content, how much searching you do, what you're doing on the internet, that sort of thing. I find the unit very easy to hold in my hand. It's comfortable, it's lightweight, It comes in a silicone case, so it's not going to slide out of your hand easily at all. There is a nice texture to the case that grips your hand. It's not uncomfortable. It doesn't have a strange feel at all as far as I'm concerned, but you're definitely not going to accidentally lose this stream out of your hand like you might a cell phone or perhaps other electronics that you've worked with where they've ended up falling out of your hand and sliding clear across the floor, and then you get to try to figure out where it is. The stream has a 3.5 millimeter stereo headphone jack. It has a place for an external microphone, or you can plug it into another source and do line-in recordings. And it also has a built-in microphone, so you can very easily record notes for yourself. And that is probably one of the handiest features of the device for many people. I certainly use that feature a lot. And you can make really good quality recordings, or you can make less high quality recordings but get a lot more content on a card. So it kind of depends on what you want, what you need, and how you choose to configure the device. There are 3 buttons at the top of the stream as it faces you upright. The far left is the go to page key. So if you're in a book that is page numbered, you can jump to a specific page. The circular button in the middle switches you between online mode so that you can be on the internet or the stream's standard bookshelf. And to the right of that is the bookmark key, which is quite handy if you need to set marks in certain places in a book that you're reading. Below that is a very standard telephone style keypad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the 5 having a little dot on it. Below that 7, 8, 9, and then *0#. Below the keypad, the telephone keypad, is a raised line, basically dividing the stream into 2 parts. The lower half of the stream consists of a sleep key that also allows you to quickly tell the time. So you can set a sleep timer. If you want to read for 15 minutes and then have the unit shut off, that's easily done. This key is off by itself, so it's not difficult to distinguish from any other key. Below that, as I mentioned earlier, are the left arrow or back, the play in the middle, just kind of a rectangular shaped button, and then the right arrow key, which is going to move you forward through content. In various places, you also use the numbers 2 and 8 to move up and down, 4 and 6 to move left and right, and then the star key will back you out of a menu. The pound key will confirm a selection in many cases. So very easy to operate. On the left side of the unit, it's the power button at the top, then 2 up and down volume buttons. That's all. That's it. On the right is the microphone jack. Below that is the record button, easily distinguished. On the bottom of the unit, as you hold it upright, is the micro USB power port. That's how you charge the unit. So it's a very standard USB adapter that you use, or charger that you use. On the very top of the unit is the headphone jack and also the SD card slot. It's very easy to access the user guide on the Victor Reader Stream. All you need to do is press and hold the number 1 key.
Enter user guide.
Victor Reader Stream user guide.
And you actually heard 2 different voices. You heard the human voice prompt say that we were in the user guide, and then you heard the text-to-speech voice read the title. And if I press the play button,
once the podcast feed is selected, press on the 3 key until you receive the option to move all podcasts from the...
And so you can tell I have that set fairly fast. If I want to slow it down, I can hit the power button.
Speed.
And as it's set to speed, I'm going to slow it down with the down volume button.
Speed. Speed. 0.
So the little beep told you I hit the default 0. I could go lower than 0 if I wanted, but I'm going to be okay with 0.
Casts from the podcast feed to the SD card. Press the confirm key to select.
So you can see that I can slow it way down or I can speed it way up, and I won't belabor that point at the moment. I currently have the stream run directly into the mixer that I am using to record this presentation. So you're getting the quality of audio that you would hear if you had a pair of headphones, a good pair of earbuds in your ears. I have now unplugged the stream from my mixer, and I'm going to place the speaker of the stream near the microphone that I'm recording with. I will press the play button.
E to select the option. Press the confirm key again to move all podcasts. Note, you can only
I will tell you that, first of all, there's no way to really give you a really good example of what the speaker is going to sound like to your ear, because you're hearing it through my microphone, which is obviously being fed back to whatever you're listening through right now. So it's not the best example, but I will tell you that I find the volume of the speaker to be quite adequate. You can turn it up fairly loudly if you need to, and use it without having to be sitting right on top of it. It's also possible to hook the stream through a speaker. If you want more volume, you can certainly do it that way. If there is no SD card in the unit and you are not on the internet, you can simply press keys to find out what they do.
Play, stop.
Or
Scroll up, 2. Scroll down, 8.
so that's another good way to learn your way around the stream. Unfortunately, there's no way that I can give you a full demonstration of how to move around on the stream, but I can tell you that all content is stored in what are called bookshelves. So even music is in a bookshelf, if you will. The number 1 key moves you through bookshelves on the stream.
Bookshelf. Saved podcasts. Text files, 9. Files. Notes, 0. Talking books, 2. Books.
And the 4 and 6 keys move you back and forth through content.
2.
Welcome to the Google suite of products.
1.
Welcome to the HumanWare Braille Note Touch Plus.
And pressing play will allow you to just start playing content. It's that simple. I mentioned internet radio earlier, and one notable station that you might want to be aware of is ACB Radio from the American Council of the Blind. I have it pulled up here on my stream. I'm just going to hit play. And it takes a minute for it to load.
Please wait.
Email address is info, I-N-F-O.
So you heard please wait, and then you heard the particular program that was playing right at that moment. So the stream is really good at giving you confirmations about things like needing to wait just a bit while things load up. In conclusion, as we get older, it's really important to stay active. It's important through our entire lives, but especially as we advance a little bit in years. And if a person's vision deteriorates, maybe you've had good vision and then you lose it, or maybe you had some and then it goes away completely, it's really nice to have a device like the Victor Reader Stream that's easy to operate and designed specifically for blind and visually impaired individuals. So the learning curve's a bit easier than perhaps an iPhone with a touch screen that can be a bit daunting if you really don't enjoy technology. I really encourage you to check it out. Go to HumanWare.com and learn more. Again, this is Jamie Pauls, and thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you. It's been an honor.
And Jamie Paul's email address is Jamie, J-A-M-I-E, Pauls, P-A-U-L-S, @gmail.com.